Hi guys, welcome back to the Tommy Starcraft channel. It's your host Tommy with a very interesting game here in between the two pro players. As you also see from the thumbnail, a very difficult game here for Flash, who is facing quite a strong opponent, a very talented Protoss. We have of course Rain, who is spawning here in the upper right as the as the orange Protoss. And his opponent, of course, here in the lower left, in the white, it is Flash with his AK. So Minimax C is, of course, the AK from Rain, a very known figure in the StarCraft 2, StarCraft 1 Pro scene, also very known in the previous ASL championship. So quite a strong opponent, one of the best Protoss, along with Snow, of course, Bisu at the same time here. So yeah, let's have a look at their build orders, just like we do in the previous replays. We're going to be checking out the build orders first. Very interesting placement here for the pylon for Rain, very close to his minerals, so no intentions for him to go for a fast expansion build order. I think it's going to be quite a normal open up here with pylon into gateway, and maybe later on with the gas and the cybernetics core. Let's have a look at Flash, also pretty standard stuff, supply depot next to his mineral line as well, and he will very likely continue with a barracks. Also not deciding to block the entrance here with his buildings, just pretty much playing very casually and very normally here for him. So yeah, nothing out of the ordinary yet. We are looking, of course, to have a very interesting game. We did see carriers into the thumbnail, so let's see if this is going to work out for Rain versus the counter from Flash. And what exactly is going to be the counter here for Flash? It is going to be Goliath, perhaps Race, or is he perhaps going to try some battle cruisers? It's going to be very interesting to see if he is indeed going for those strategy, as now he's just currently scouting the map. A very good and early scouting here for him with his SCV. No scouting yet, interesting enough for Rain, as there should be his cybernetics core or forge. No, it's actually cybernetics core. So yeah, he is very likely going to be going for some dragoons early on. We do know, of course, how strong dragoons are in the early game versus the Terran, as Flash is going here with another supply depot. There is the production tab here in the upper left part, just in case I'm missing something. The first Marine is actually also getting produced. We might see a bunker here in the front for Flash to secure his expansion, and Flash actually deciding to go for a expansion at around the 2-minute and 40-second mark. So also very interesting placement, just like I told you, just in case the Terran is going to scan this area right here. Some buildings will be hidden nicely here in the back for Rain. So Rain, very smart gameplay here in the early stages, as his first Dragoon is getting spawned, and also the Dragoon range is getting upgraded here. And the unlucky scout by Flash, he has to now go up all the way into the higher right corner, and still no scouting here for Rain. So of course he knows it's a 4 spawning location map, even decides to go for a expansion. And now finally his scouting has started with a Dragoon and with a probe into this location. So I believe he's expecting a move out by the SCV. He knows, of course, the timing from the scouting. The in comes the SCV, but already takes a little bit of damage. There's the pylon. Let's just check Flash once again, as this should be, of course, his first factory. So some SCVs are getting pushed here forward by Flash. His expansion is about to get finished. Perhaps a small advantage here by him, as his expansion is a little bit faster, but he has to, of course, to go for the bunker, as the first Dragoon is slowly but steadily coming here forward towards his expansion. And more Dragoons are, of course, getting produced here for the Protoss. The Dragoon taking a little bit of damage here, but nice micro by Flash here, as the shields from Dragoon are now down, and reinforcements need, of course, to be brought here forward. Quite a risky move here by Rain, taking some damage, waiting now for that upgrade to get finished, as he should be able to damage the bunker very soon here for Flash. And yeah, Flash, his factory just finished now, so he has no counters against the Dragoon push yet. He has to actually repair the bunker here very quickly, as some reinforcements will pour here forward for Rain. So yeah, very normal open up here by both players. The pretty standard Terran versus Protoss. We also see the robotics facility by getting produced here for Rain. So we might see some drops, we might see some harassment with some Reaver, with some shuttle gameplay. Also some observers are much needed. There's the observer, there's also the armory here for Flash, and we see the siege tank and the siege tank ability here getting also done for him. So right now 3 dragoons versus the bunker and 3 repairing SCVs, but as soon as the tank will pop out, this ledge right here is very important, a very good position for a tank to siege up and deal damage towards the incoming enemies. And we even see weapons 1 already getting started for the mech units here for Flash, so quite an important upgrade here for him. And there's a tank waiting, of course, for the siege tank ability. He needs to hurry up with another SCV, but of course Flash very fast with his micro, very good stuff. And the siege tank, of course, waiting here for that ability to be able to deal damage. And now finally this push will be held off very nicely here by Flash, as he's even inflicting twice the shots towards the dragoon. So with that he's able to hold. We see a nice barracks here for Flash, so a scouting barracks just to give vision. And we also see another expansion here for Rain, so a very strong move by him according towards his macro game. So nicely expanding here all over the map, adding more and more expansions. And with that, Flash might be behind. If this expansion is going to finish, Rain will of course pump more units out, put more probes. And yeah, let's check his main really quickly. I believe he's going into more gateway units currently, as some probes are here stuck a little bit in between those gateways. And yeah, finally they have been finished and forced here forward. So yeah, Flash just still staying into his double expansion build order. There we have yet another factory. Some turrets are actually getting produced here by him, so perhaps he's fearing a DD drop, he's fearing some observers. There's the first observer, second one is also coming in here forward. Expansion pretty much unpunished here by Flash. The way is nicely blocked just in case some vultures might make their way here forward. Rain decides to play it now a little bit safe, and he's adding here finally his first starport. A nice hidden starport which will produce the carriers. There is the observer, there is the turret here by Flash. And yeah, he sees the pretty normal stuff here for the Terran. No Goliaths yet here for Flash. Some mines are getting upgraded, vultures, and even a science facility. So we might see some EMP shockwaves here for Flash versus the opponent, as some dragoons are just patrolling here the map in case there will be some mines. And let's see, there is the science facility with the starport right above. So no major engagement yet. Both players pretty much expecting each other. Flash should be of course the one harassing the expansion, as Rain has already reached to 57 workers. But Rain has a great map control, having those group of dragoons out. Very hard here for Flash to move out, even the observer. So Rain with a very nice strategic gameplay here, having more and more vision from the opponent. Sees quite every move out by him. Flash of course is expecting a drop, but there is no such thing here from Rain, as there is his strategy. Lead beacon and another Stargate, as Flash tries of course to secure very likely his other expansion point. So I believe Flash still doesn't know about this location right here. Still going heavily into those tanks with vultures. No Goliaths yet for him. And let's see if this is going to work out. He has 5 factories now. He even has the starport with a science facility, so some EMP shockwaves will be produced. We see weapons 1 getting done here for the Protoss, and the first carriers are getting produced. Still Flash with no reaction. He's going now into double satellite, so he's pretty much blind now. He has some mines here out, but he still doesn't know that Rain is indeed going for some carriers. So he might expect that he might think that it could be carriers, as there was no harassment yet for the Protoss, no drops yet, no reavers, no DTs. So either it's heavily into gateway units, or it's some other strategy like the carriers here for Rain. Let's have a look at the upgrades very quickly. Still 0-0 for him. I believe Flash should have of course finished 1, going into plate and weapons 2 here as well. Carrier capacity here of course much needed, with 4 more interceptors, as Rain just keeps on clearing the mines here, and Flash reacting with another expansion here at the high ground, securing it of course with a couple of tanks and with some vultures. So of course that's much needed here. The tanks should be able to deal splash damage towards the dragoons here. Of course Rain is not going to engage here. It would be pretty much suicide to walk off this ramp. But we have passed the 10-minute mark and Rain decides to take the 12 o'clock position after taking this expansion right here. So 70 workers here already at the 12 o'clock position, at the 10-minute mark, sorry, for Rain. And they are the first carrier with 3 starports. And if you look at the production tab, Flash still not reacting with Goliath, so he's still pretty much blind here. He did very likely scan this area, but yeah, there it is. There's a much needed scan as he now sees the carriers, and it looks like Rain is pretty much going to react now. Not going to wait a little bit longer. I believe he's going to target the newly established base very soon here for Flash, and there is the upgrade immediately for the Goliath missile range, and 5 Goliaths just immediately getting popped out. But is it going to be enough, as the Dragoons are slowly but steadily moving forward? Speed should be done very soon here for the Protoss. Actually, no speed has been upgraded yet for him, so this could be a disadvantage. Of course, the first 2 carriers are very close into the newly established base here from Flash. So Flash nicely blocking the entrance, even with some supply depots, even having a bunker here, and turrets, of course, getting mass produced now versus those carriers. Tries to keep, of course, the Protoss at bay with some mines here, as the Protoss now just pretty much patrolling the map here and even deciding to expand into this location. So mass expansions here for him, having a good position and now going for the first tank, as there are sadly no Goliaths yet here for Flash. So the first damage has been done, a tank has fallen. Flash tries to secure his next expansion point with some Goliaths in the middle of the map, with some tanks. She should have 2-1 now, of course. Carriers should have 1-0, and no upgrades for the gateway units yet. I believe Rain is going to very likely go heavily into the upgrades for the weapons for the air, and now speed for the zealots will also be done very soon for him. So yeah, still a guessing game here for Flash, where exactly the next move from Rain is going to happen, as he's moving forward towards this location right here. And is he going to attack? He needs, of course, speed for the zealots. He might just try to poke here forward and snipe some turrets, snipe some SCVs. Let's see what exactly is going for. The bunker a little bit. Now he's going for the tank, but he needs to be careful not to take damage out of the turrets. In come the zealots. Finally, speed has been done, and this looks like a very strong move here by Rain, as he's going to target the buildings here from Flash. Flash now having to come up. This ramp is actually working here against Flash, as his tanks are, of course, a little bit slow. And now Rain having a very good position. The tanks in the back will be able to secure it. Still good damage has been done here by Rain versus the buildings, versus the one tank that has been sniped. And now Rain just pretty much just patrolling the map, just waiting for reinforcements, especially for those carriers. 3 more carriers are getting produced. So quite a healthy number here from carriers for Rain. And perhaps Rain knows the map, knows that those ramps right here work against Flash. So Flash tries to lure, of course, the Protoss into the middle of the map with his Goliaths, and finally some good damage could be dealt here against the carriers. Many interceptors will fall here as well, and a good engagement this time by Flash. Notice that Rain decides to not attack into the middle of the map. He decides to take a more advantage position here, tries to keep Flash just pretty much committing his units, perhaps splitting his 2 units up. Just tries to keep him guessing where exactly his next move are going to be. Just keeps on sniping turret after turret. Goliaths also move forward. Not that many tanks here for Flash, interesting enough, so the Zealots and Dragoons could deal good damage. So it's a nice patrolling gameplay here by Rain, moving up and down and producing more carriers. There we have EMP Shockwave and more upgrades for the mech units on the ground here for Flash. 1 to 2 upgrades. Rain still coming in, still sniping turret after turret, even Goliath after Goliath, but some interceptors will of course be taken out here, as there's so many turrets on the ground, and even Goliaths here will be able to inflict damage. But notice that Rain does have indeed expansions all over the map, so he might even transition from carriers into mass ground units, into mass Dragoons with Zealots. He might even try to go for some Psionic Storms. Let's see, we could have a good engagement here in the middle of the map. And the Dragoons will be in the front. The tanks, not all of them are sieged up here for Flash, so Flash with a little bit of a mistake is now finally decides to siege up, and with that I believe Rain should be pushed back. Still the carriers are in position, they're nicely getting microed back and forward, but the tanks have been sieged up, and with those upgrades they're pretty much ready to obliterate all of those Dragoons. The kiting continues here for Rain. He's trying to lure, of course, Flash out, and Flash has to unsiege and re-siege those tanks. Only the Goliaths are now in the front, dealing good damage towards the Dragoons and towards the carriers. So a nice cat and mouse gameplay here for both players. Still, Rain knows that he has the speed advantage as he's nicely kiting those units, and even now he might get a good position here into this location with these carriers, as Flash will be forced once again to bring some units here. So many turrets here for Flash, yet no Goliaths, no tanks for him. Interesting enough, I believe he knows that the carriers will very likely snipe tank after tank, and he just decides to stabilize with some turrets. But the Dragoons are moving forward. Flash is into the middle of the map. This looks like it has turned into a base trade scenario, as the carriers will be able to snipe turret after turret, but now even the gateway units will move forward, and Rain has actually the high ground here. The Zealots are also here on the high ground, tanks are in the low ground, but the carriers are so much here in number, as it's quite a bad position here for Flash to engage. Really strong stuff here by Rain. At the same time, there's the counter attack here by Flash. He is confident with his upgrades. 3-2, he is pretty much abandoning his expansion and decides to go straight for the newly established, actually for the main base here from Rain. Good storms are being casted. Flash is going to very likely go straight for the production buildings from his opponent, so quite a strong move here by him. Still, the factories are intact for Flash, as he did some good damage, but right now the tanks are rolling forward. There are some scans going out. The Dragoons will of course stand no chance against so many tanks and carriers. And here we go, the Goliaths just kiting nicely back and forth. I believe they will target the pylon here, and Rain all of a sudden needs to come back to defend against this. But is it going to be enough against so many Goliaths? Some of them are hurt for the Psionic Storm. I believe Rain should be able to push this back to defend this with his carriers, as in they come. EMP Shockwave has been casted, but it hasn't really landed, and that low amount of Goliaths of course should be no match against all of those carriers in the air. And remember, some of them are really hurt. They are upgraded. Flash tries his best to kite them back and forward. His tanks have done a good job against the production buildings here from Rain, but remember, he even has those production buildings right here, and the carriers will of course be able to hold this. One carrier has been sniped, but in the end Flash actually abandoning this game, noticing that I believe the carrier number was way too high here for Rain, and I believe he also scanned the areas right here, and he saw that so many expansions have been made. And let's not forget that his one expansion has pretty much been taken down, so it would have been a 2-base Terran versus a even 6-base Protoss to be soon. Of course, this base has been sniped, but in the end the economic advantage would have pretty much overruled his opponent. So yeah, with that, Flash, sadly for him, losing this game. So very difficult game indeed. A very nice game here for Rain, hiding those carriers as much as he could and abusing of course the map. Those ramps pretty much worked against Flash here, and yeah, in the end Rain with a very nice game here versus Flash. Flash losing this game, a very difficult game for him. Very hard to counter those carriers if you have small ramps to move up and forward. Tried a nice base trade scenario, but in the end the carrier number was way too high, and the economy here from Rain also very high. Pretty much a strong game by Rain, leaving Flash actually with no answer towards those carriers, towards the Dragoons. So yeah, still a good game by both players, but Rain showing that he is much better right now, in much better shape than Flash. So yeah, quite an interesting game. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try to be as active as possible with more games from 2024 from the South Korean ladder. This is Tommy signing out.